Morning, heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll the
Now listen here, Dutch. Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! Here we got 302BIRDS, Gino Stinks. Go Birds! Oh my gosh, Chad.
Your favorite Chicagoan, go Phils!
As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302BIRDS podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
Oh my God, that song just slaps. You know what slaps more than that song? Season 7 is here. It's actually really hard to believe it. I was thinking about it today and I was like, oh my God. We've been covering the Philadelphia Eagles for you guys for 4 years now. And that's only thanks to you guys. That's thanks to people like Freddie. That's thanks to people like David Fair. That's thanks to people like all of our hosts on this show, the hosts on the Phillies post-game show, everybody that's been a part of this thing from the start. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because being able to do this with you guys every Wednesday night is seriously one of, if not the highlight of my week. Getting to see these people throughout the busy lifestyles we run through, that's what makes it all great. Don't have a weekly call-in for you tonight. Have a weekly shout-out instead. Shout out to our boy Matty B, Matty Ice. We met him at training camp. Came up to me and KJ. Awesome kid. Asked for a picture. Obviously a Birds fan. Had the Jalen Carter jersey on. He was going to try to call in tonight. We can't get him on, unfortunately, but we are going to try to get him next week. With that being said, we're going to go right into the ballpark. But before we do that, I want to thank El Diablo, as always, for sponsoring us for another season. The best burritos in Delaware, the best Mexican food in Delaware. If you guys aren't going there, what are you doing?
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is, but their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302BIRDS sent you. God bless, go Birds.
Talk about a buzzer beater. Talk about no more ballpark. Get out of here, Tom. We don't need you anymore, man. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, Matt, what a buzzer beater, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so when we met you at training camp, you carried yourself in an awesome way, man. You got the right colors on. You brought a question for us tonight. What'd you bring for us to the show?
Well, I mean, we got to talk about the sport that's going on right now. Baseball. I'm thinking about the Phillies. They started the season a little slow. They started to heat up, and then they got red hot, and they were smoking teams left and right. And then it kind of tumbled after the All-Star break. They came out, were really slow, and they've been in quite of a slump. How do you think that the Phillies could still win the World Series?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Take it first, ballpark.
Tough one at this point. Hoffman needs to learn how to stop hanging every other pitch. He gave up another home run last night, starting to make me worry. Dude hadn't given up. I think he only gave up 3 runs in, what was it? It was like 40 innings pitched, and then he blew a 4-run lead in Seattle. Then he gave up a home run last night. So he's causing a little concern there. The starting rotation seems to finally be gelling again. Nola's starting to look like Nola of last year, which is a little frustrating. but if he can turn it back on in the big moments like he did the last 2 seasons, he'll be fine. The problem is, like, do I rely on these bats to stay hot? And that's kind of what their final blow was. It was like one series you go cold and you're done. Like they did against the Astros, they did against the D-backs. They're doing it now for an extended period and can't figure it out. If they're going to be a team that can't figure it out, I'm going to have to be honest and say no, they can't win a World Series. But we'll see. I hope they find that red hot streak and just start winning series after series. I think they've lost 7 straight series now. They lost to the A's, Pirates, Yankees, Twins,
Guardians,
Seattle.
Yeah.
I think that's 7. I think I might have miscounted there because I was also trying to think of the teeth at the same time. So, but I don't know. They have to be able to learn how to flip it around and not go on these streaks. That being said, I'm glad they got it out now. Ranger should be back relatively soon. Won't be back for the D-backs. I think he'll be back after that. Taijuan Walker staying down is good. Phillips being a hidden gem is good for the playoffs too.
Yep.
That they found. He might not come in handy necessarily in October itself. He might be that piece that helps ride you through September, so you save some of those arms for October. And that's the only saving grace they might have with saving their arms and whatnot. Because his bullpen, I don't think is as sturdy as we thought it was going to be. They've had to pitch a lot of innings, yes, recently because the starters haven't been as great. But they had a lot of rest for most of the first half of the season, and now all of a sudden I'm asking a decent load out of you, and you're faltering, and you were supposed to be a top bullpen in the league, so it's a little scary to see, and I'm going to need a lot of them this weekend, or the rest of the season. I'm going to need a big bolster out of them. I'm really going to need a big bolster out of them all throughout October, because first signs of trouble, I'm probably pulling my starter after 5 or 6. I'm not going to let them try to figure it out and blow up and give up 7 runs. I want to bring in somebody who's going to be able to limit the damage. So I can't have these guys coming in and just serving it up. So that they're going to need to figure it out before October.
Now, I have a question. I don't know if you guys have asked Matt yet. Matt, obviously, I could hear by the way you talked about the Phillies saying it's Phillies season. So pipe down up there, Jack. It's not football season. Jack and Tommy on the show, Matt, are always having a debate of if it's football season. Jack thinks it's always football season. Tommy always thinks it's baseball season. But, Matt, what makes it baseball season for the Phillies, and what do you think our Phillies can do to secure the bag of that World Series championship this year?
I think to secure the World Series championship, honestly, the bullpen needs to step up. Like they were talking about, Hoffman has been decent, Strahm has been good, and I think that getting Estevez from the Angels was a really good pickup at the trade deadline. And Tanner Banks was solid. He gave up that home run. Was that last night he gave up a home run? I forget, but I think if they want to win a World Series, it's got to be the bullpen or the rotation. But the bats also have to get hot too. Like Harper's been in a little bit of a slump. He got out of it the first game against the Dodgers. But the bats definitely need to get hotter like they were earlier before the All-Star break.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to add. I think you guys summed it up.
Yeah. I mean, Maddie, appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Thanks for coming up and remembering who we were. But appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully we'll have you on later.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Have a good one.
You too.
Now, Tommy, we're
Yes.
talking about baseball season. How are we going in the ballpark, and how are you feeling about this next couple months?
Hold on.
Wait, here, 1 second. I got
we have
to
a
hit
very
this one.
important special friend we have to introduce. Right, Ash?
Working on it. There we go.
Time for Phillies talk with Bob Tommy. Finger stitch.
That goes
Thank
to
you, Ashley.
Dalton sent his text about 2 seconds too late. I did.
That really goes.
Hey, the humor in that was in itself priceless.
That just goes to show we need Dalton
Our friends at
yeah.
Nick's Pizza are never late, though. They're always on time with their pizza orders, at least, Dutch.
Do you know for a fact?
Go, Tom. There you are.
See,
Tommy.
I can mix it up every week for you.
Tommy. We're mixing up that pizza sauce on Nick's Pizza. How are you feeling about these Phillies, and what do you expect? I know kind of Matt kind of hit on it, but for the next couple months, next 4 months.
Well, they haven't given me a lot of confidence over the last month or so at this point since the A's series. Like, never thought I feel like the A's were going to be the downfall of the Phillies, but here we are.
Here we are.
Ever since that series, they've looked like shit. I went to the opening game of the Guardian series, was the last game I was at and they looked awful. Oh, like Bryce couldn't field. Oh, he threw one. Bryson Stott couldn't catch a ball. And Turner couldn't field either. Like, it literally looked like the bad news Bears, and they've kind of looked like that. Their fielding hasn't been great. Their pitching hasn't been great. Their hitting hasn't been great. The only team that's been on a worse streak than them over the last month has been the White Sox, and they lost 20 straight games.
Yeah,
like, that's the only reason why they're worse.
And honestly, they almost beat the MLB long-term losing streak record. They were 3 games away from that for some perspective.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, it's kind of disheartening seeing 7 straight series losses at this point. They need to win tonight to avoid another series loss. It's going to be tough going like for the rest of the season. They have a tough schedule. They have this is the tough part of their schedule, I should say. Hey, and their bullpen hasn't withheld, let's say. They have some injuries to their starting rotation, I'll give them that. But their bullpen looks like it's starting to falter a little bit. Alvarado looks like he's finally figured it out once he's no longer in that closer role, which I appreciate. Strahm looks solid again. Hoffman's starting to waver. This guy from the Angels isn't bad. If he could just get strikes called down the middle from the umpires, I'm not sure what it is. Last night it happened for Estevez, and against Seattle with that walk-off walk, 2 pitches right down the middle called for balls. I don't know what needs to happen, if we need to have regular eye exams for these umpires before he's allowed to pitch, but that guy's not bad. He's not a bad pitcher. He actually has come in and pitched kind of well in his few outings that he's had. But he just doesn't get the obvious calls. But so long term, I think they'll be fine. Like, Harper will turn it around. Turner, I think, will turn it around. And if he doesn't, well, I trust Sosa. Sosa did well this year. He did when Turner was out for that stretch, and he was a key. He might be the first one to finally get some RBIs with the bases loaded last night. It's weird to see. The Phillies gold medal, if they were an Olympic team, would be for leaving runners stranded on base. That would be their gold medal.
1422, saying it now. That is the quote graphic of the night.
There you go. The Phillies love to leave men stranded on base, and that has been their downfall over this long stretch. I don't know how many times it has been 1st and 3rd, and I see 1 out, and I'm like, those guys are going to stay on 1st and 3rd. And sure enough, strikeout, pop-up, usually. Strikeout, pop-up. That's the order they do it. They don't do sacrifice flies anymore. I don't know what happened. Harper used to be this clutch situational hitter. He used to know, all right, I don't need the home run. I don't even need a single here. I have a man on 3rd base, less than 2 outs. I need to put this ball in the air and get it a little further than a pop-up so I can score that runner from third to get the run home and at least get one in that situation. That's what they've been missing over these 7 series is that situational hitting. And with these extra innings, I know it's not sexy. If you know who Kent Murphy is, I love Kent Murphy. And he's like, we don't bunt, we hit dingers, Dutch. But you know what? You have to bunt, don't flip off your third base coach. Please, for the love of God, bunt the runner over to third.
Ash, I will give you extra brownie points if you somehow figure out how to Photoshop Tom as a third base coach having a freaking aneurysm on the sideline with 3 gold medals around his neck. And then it's got to say Phillies hitting behind him for the quote graphic. Just throwing that out. No, I'm kidding.
Well, okay, great. Yeah, totally achievable in my,
On busting balls. That's maybe Tom as a Phillies coach, though. We could start with a gold medal. That actually may be easier said than done. I might be able to help out with that. Just thinking about that. But guys, it's not often that Dalton, I don't think actually ever has participated in a monumental, once a monumental moment in baseball, twice actually. Phillies Parade 2008, Phillies World Series 2022. Other than that, I haven't done shit for the Phillies. Tom over here, you're looking at fucking Lewis and Clark for the Phillies. Me, not so much. All right, I'm still working on it. But Tommy boy, I actually had a pretty cool moment. Being on TV aside,
This was
whatever,
really cool.
I wouldn't have cared. I would have showed this moment from my perspective too, but I'm going to show ESPN's because being there for what Freddie Freeman is going through, we talked about it on the plane ride, me and KJ, that's bigger than baseball. I hope he's okay. He got a standing ovation. Being a part of that, being able to represent the Philly fan base and show that we can be of class, we can show respect, and that some things are bigger than baseball was an absolute honor. Here's the clip. So if you guys didn't see, I'll roll it one more time. But those 2 guys up there on the left, the Phillies fan with the cat that's pointing it for those on Spotify. And the gentleman next to me, obviously, is Mac. It's KJ. So really cool. But like I said, some things are bigger than baseball. So glad that Freddie Freeman is doing okay. Not glad that the Dodgers whooped our ass when I traveled halfway across the country to go see our Phillies.
So I want to know your record this season because it's
not good. Thanks for bringing it up on a public forum, pal, with 9
You're
people
welcome.
watching. Thank you. Now pitchforks will be out here tomorrow. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't think you're allowed to go to a World Series game this year. Just saying.
I think that's fair.
I agree with that. I actually have already thought that out. I'm not going to one this year. You could give me a free ticket, and I want to go.
It saves you money. It helps you out, you know.
I would sacrifice that for a World Series ring all day. I would literally give up probably anything for a World Series ring
you'll get better
or a Super Bowl
content
ring.
at a parade than you would at just one singular game. Think about it that way.
That is very true. But how are you guys all feeling about this Dodgers series? You guys think that the Phillies will bounce back tonight? Give me a quick little pre-game preview.
I forget who's pitching tonight. Exactly for him off the top of my head. If I'm not sure if someone can pull that up right now.
I'm pulling it up.
I'm working on it.
But
It is Tyler Phillips.
well, that's who's pitching for the Phillies, which gives me confidence.
Gavin Stone.
Oh, I have a lot more confidence then that Stone's pitching. I think they'll be able to hit him pretty well. Plus, they're playing kind of late at night. You should see some bombs go out of Dodger Stadium. Some moonshots out of there at this time of night, especially with the thinner air out there and stuff like that. Well, not too much thinner air really, but just playing in a desert.
Dry air.
Drier air. There you go. I think they'll have a good night tonight. especially facing Gavin Stone, who hasn't really lived up to the expectations the Dodgers were hoping for. Or I think he got shelled in Philly when he last pitched here too. So I think I was at that game. So I don't. So I could see them having a really good night with the bats against him, and plus Phillips, he had his one bad outing, and he looked like he was ready to cry in his post game because he's a Philly boy. Like he grew up being a Phillies fan and wanted. And you can tell he wants to do good by his hometown team, who he grew up rooting and cheering for. I don't see him having another bad outing. I think he'll be phenomenal tonight again, just like he has been his last few starts. It just means something more to him because he's grown up a lifelong Phillies fan, and so I think he'll do great. I think the bats will come alive against Gavin Stone. It might be the hometown cooking they need. Remember, and it would be poetic justice too if this losing streak of series ends against the Dodgers, because the last series they won was against the Dodgers, and you know what? The first series to start a new streak of winning series could be against the Dodgers. And you know what? That would make my October hopes feel a lot better, especially because we're probably going to have to face the Dodgers in the playoffs. So it would make me feel a whole lot better if they could pull out a series win against the Dodgers.
Dalton, I just want to say this. Tom just pretty much little boyed you right there, saying that last game he went to the Dodgers game, they won. So you're just the bad mojo.
I caught the fucking drift there, Sherlock. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I wasn't trying to throw shade by saying they won that game.
Alyssa's dad, Jeff. He said, I don't know how good we are at this whole away thing. And I was like, yeah, you might be right. And sure as shit, he was right.
So, Tom, I have a question for you. I don't know if
moving along now, though, to our next topic.
Hey, is he there?
He's frozen.
Yeah, I think he froze.
Okay.
Am I back yet?
Now you are.
You are.
I had a question for Tom, though. So,
Cool.
Tom, I'm going to see the Dodgers and the Brewers on Monday.
Yes.
Going up to Milwaukee to see that game. Who should I be rooting for, or should I just be rooting for baseball as a whole?
You should be rooting for baseball as a whole because the Phillies are 1, Brewers and Dodgers are 2 and 3. So it doesn't really matter. I guess you want to see the Brewers win because they're further behind us than the Dodgers. So I guess the Brewers.
Sounds good. Reese Hoskins. I can root for him.
Yes, you can cheer for Reese. I love Reese. Reese will always have a special place in my heart, especially since I saw his bat spike live. So he'll always have a little spot there. Now, Dutch.
Here we go. Woohoo.
So Tom would wink at Reese Hoskins if he could, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
I hope I didn't just broke up again.
But yes, I would wink at Reese Hoskins.
Yeah.
And just that was a bad voice crack. Holy shit. But you know who doesn't have a bad voice crack? Jalen, when calling opposing coaches to try to gain that extra edge and have that mutual respect and try to get that little he wants that little edge. See what his opponents are looking for in him. Like this was a cool story that came out this week that he called the Giants' former defensive coordinator to try to see like how teams plan against him, what little things does he do that tip off defenses and stuff like that, and he gained the respect of him, and I think this is something you definitely want to see out of your starting quarterback to try to get better all the time. Jack, Ash, Dutch, what do you think?
I think it's really cool.
I mean, I think it's like we said, this year is Jalen Hurts' year, and he has to gain the respect of the city and be that versatile player that we need and that leader, because Jason Kelsey's no longer there. Neither is Fletcher Cox. So having Jalen Hurts do this shows him the leadership role that we need. So I love seeing this, and it shows him that he's really, looking to have a better season than last season.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just been cool to see him reach out to other coaches and just, again, that mutual respect thing in the NFL and really anywhere is super, super important. And it's cool to see that it really seems like the NFL as a whole really does respect what the Eagles organization and what Jalen has done.
I'll go before freaking little Debbie comes for my fucking soul again out there. I was saying to Amir before, I thought it was really cool, this story, and that this came out, because I think it shows that Jalen Hurts does not care. He has no ego as far as how he looks to other people. Some people would be like, oh, you're calling a guy that, like beat you, or a guy that mastered what you did, or this, that, whatever. And he's just like, look, man, I want to win. I want to get better as a player. And that's like a dog winner mentality. So the fact that Jalen Hurts just embodies that, that's just a natural characteristic for him. Get excited, Eagles fans, because that's a winner mentality. Like I said, the fact that he was just willing to call up, the Giants are argumentatively, probably for most people, the Eagles' second most hated team in the NFL besides the Cowboys. So the fact that he was willing to just call him up and say, hey, tell me everything you know about me and how to kick my ass and what am I horrible at, so that he can go back to the drawing board and work on it, that just shows that he has no ego. It's not about criticism with him. It's about the winning. And that's where the best NFL players come out of. So you got my respect, Jalen. I'm proud to see it, man. I know everybody pretty much covered that as far as that goes. Now, honoring some greatness. So from one generation to the next of broadcasters, all of us, you three may not think of yourself as broadcasters, but you guys are. You guys have grown into great broadcasters. I'm proud of all three of you. And the gentleman backstage too, Amir, proud of him. But Merle Reese, man, honoring greatness. I think it's going to be at the NFL. Debbie, don't do it, Debbie, in the middle of honoring greatness, Debbie. Oh my gosh.
Nothing good ever came out of something named Debbie. I'm sorry to our listeners who are named Debbie. I had a bad boss named Debbie. So there's my PTSD showing.
I think I'm with you, except for Little Debbie pastries, because I do have a couple.
We are a tasty cake loving Philadelphian and Delco people. We will never.
As a podcast, we just take our pastries one way or the other. There's no in between, Tom.
There's no in between. I will die.
It's funny because I was listening to WIP, speaking of Merle Reese, and they have something, I forget what it's called. It's called the Tasty Cake Studio.
Yeah.
And it's like live from the Tasty Cake Studio. And I just love it. Oh, look at Jordan. He's got it right there. Yeah. He's got his lemon pie. Oh, baked lemon pie. Damn, that sounds good. Might have to try that for myself.
I wish I had mine close. I have my candy cakes, but they're upstairs. And my junior.
Yeah. Don't get me naming fucking tasty cakes, because we'll be here until 11 o'clock with fucking Squirrel right here. Now I want a tasty cake, so let's finish this damn thing so I can go to Wawa and get a tasty cake. Both of you, call us. Sponsor.
Not if
time of the year.
Debbie stops you.
Tom, you already shot Little Debbie in the foot 2 minutes ago. That sponsorship's been out the window. But Merle Reese, in all seriousness, I just want to thank you for everything you did. That broadcast, like, when you think about Merle Reese, when I first think of him, I think of that broadcast right when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and he said, Eagles everywhere. I'm going to start to cry right now thinking about it. This is for you. Like, just like what a relief that was. Hearing Eagles fans everywhere. This is for you. Everybody who had been an Eagles fan forever, I don't think you could have illustrated a more perfect sentence of what to say, of like, finally, with a PH. Like, golly, we've been waiting a long time. So Merle Reese, I just want to respect you. I want to thank you for everything. I don't think it's the end of him talking. He'll definitely be around. But it's great that the NFL on a national level is going to recognize this guy for something that he's great at.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To me, he's like almost like what Vin Scully was for baseball is what Merrill Reese is for football. Like, he's that voice that you've grown up listening to. He's that voice anytime a memorable highlight has ever happened all throughout the history of Philadelphia football. You've heard Merrill Reese's voice. My my grandfather listened to him. My father listened to him. Now, guess what? I listen to him. And probably Tommy Jr. will not listen to him. Probably, unfortunately. But
depending on how soon you have kids, buddy.
take it easy there, Jordan. He won't like. He's always been great. He'll always be great. He'll live in Philadelphia lore forever, just like Harry Callis is for the Phillies. He'll live in that lore as well. There's nothing better than that crisp fall air in September, or you're barbecuing and it's still nice out. You got your sweatshirt on, Dutch, got your jeans on, and you're chilling out with friends and family, barbecuing, and life just couldn't be better with the birds on, and you have Merrill Reese on in the background. What could be better?
I don't know what could be better, man. I don't know what could be. And I just realized, I've completely forgot to use graphics this whole show just because Debbie has completely had me in and out. So to our graphics team, to Ashley and Joey, I do apologize. They bring it every week when I'm not in the middle of a fucking tornado hurricane trifecta. I would be happy to show you guys what we have. But moving along to our next segment, fingers crossed that this shows up. That's why I just gave it that preload. Woo! Thank God it did. Did everybody also say everything that they wanted to say about Merrill Reese, Jack, before I move on to... Okay, cool. Tom, same?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Moving along to our next segment. So the Eagles finally get some depth now. Well, I shouldn't say finally, but interestingly enough, add again at linebacker, which I was thinking about this today, and this tells me a couple of things, guys. This tells me that the Eagles aren't so sure about that linebacker too. We saw the video of Devin White. That was awesome last night. I'll just speak on that real quick just because that's relevant. But him just saying how he felt like it was like almost like prophecy for him to come to Philadelphia. And hey, he was meant to be here. And Howie Roseman was the only guy that FaceTimed him and said, hey, like we kind of relate on this. Like I kind of think we could use you here in a way and you could use us and we could kind of benefit each other. And Devin White, I think, has solidified that middle linebacker 1-star. I'm excited to see Devin White play. Like, this is the first time in a long time I am genuinely psyched to watch the middle linebacker position, probably since Jordan Hicks, I would say, for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what happens at the middle linebacker 2? It's going to be an all-out war for 2 and 3. But I think it's going to be iron sharpening iron. And when you look at this guy, I mean, he's not a bad player. It's another good depth piece. He comes from the Jaguars. Shaquille Quarterman, 1 forced fumble, 54 tackles through 63 games played. Nothing crazy, nothing major, but he's also not a bad player. He's not just somebody that's going to be standing there, taking up space. So I think what the Eagles are trying to do is say, okay, we're just going to bring in a lot of depth. We're going to bring in a lot of talent through this last month here, and we're just going to explore all of our options. Vic Fangio, moreover, is going to explore all his options, and he's going to say, okay, who do I like the most for that versatile guy that's the most healthy, too? Because that's something as well. We hear Nakobe Dean's injuries, and then now Jeremiah Trotter Jr. had something. So I think the Eagles are just, don't be scared. I don't think that this is that long-term investment piece, Eagles fans. I think that this is just a depth piece right now for if they go farther than we think, which they should.
Yeah, I mean, it's a position that we've needed since we've lost Jordan Hicks. It's a position that we've harped on all season last season about, we need, some depth in the linebacker position. And like Dalton said, it's that big question mark. Do we really know who's going to be that linebacker too? We have all these talented players that we are, now signing. So that kind of makes me worried a little bit because our first preseason game's tomorrow, but hopefully we have a set in stone, etched in the stone, somebody that it will be that second or linebacker too. So I'm happy we're adding depth. I mean, we've needed this for quite some time, and I think on the defense end, I feel like every position is pretty much solid, but the linebacker position. So that's why they're trying these different players out at middle linebacker. So
we'll see what happens.
I agree with everything you guys have said. I don't think he'll be a starter, to be perfectly honest. I think he's just really a depth piece. His numbers don't wow me over the last 3 years. There's one other area they struggled with last season was special teams, and the year before that, which kind of cost them in the Super Bowl a little bit. It was special teams. I wouldn't be too surprised if he got brought in for special teams a little bit on kickoffs and punt and on punts to go cover some ground. And like some of your best linemen on a punt team are linebackers. Some of the guys that are going to be flying down the field, you'd rather have a linebacker than like necessarily like a defensive lineman or somebody to go tackle someone. You want somebody who has a little bit of speed and versatility and is kind of like a more of a pure athlete out there. So I don't think he'd be a bad option to have out there on special teams for kickoffs, and especially with the new kickoff rules too, that there's going to be more returns. You're going to need a coverage team that can go down there and tackle some guys. You're not going to have as many fair like it's going to be like you're going to get penalized like it's like pretty badly on kickoffs now with these new rules too. So I kind of like him for that too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good move for the Birds. Now, moving along, this has been what everybody's been watching, which has been amazing to see. The Olympics only come every so often. Got to embrace it when it happens. And who has been embracing it more than the mayor of Delco, the mayor of Philadelphia, the mayor of pretty much the whole mid-Atlantic area, I think it's fair to say now, Jason Kelce. Could you imagine just being in Paris? Like, I know when he first got there, I think there was just a fan in an Eagles jersey, and he just taps him on the like, I would freak out just seeing him casually there. So it actually gives you hope because the American mascot, Snoop Dogg, will be definitely in presence at LA's Olympics in 2028, I believe, which I think would mean that the Kelce's should be heavily in attendance. So just thinking about how all these celebrities are going to be almost like normal human beings per se at the Olympics. I'm just saying I should go to LA and we should all go to LA in 2028 because it's probably an easy way to meet a celebrity. And also welcoming to the show Amir. But how are all you guys? And we can even start it with our guest Amir. How are you guys feeling about Kelce in Paris and all this going?
See, I didn't even see this happen. I didn't even know this happened, to be honest. I follow like 10, 20 Eagles pages. I didn't even see this happen.
So moreover, let me ask you the follow-up question. You're in Paris, like you're just at the Olympics, right? So your family, like we'll just say like, because I don't know, you would probably have to be super crazy rich in America to be able to go to Paris and do all that. But let's just say like your family owns McDonald's or something. They're like, Amir, we're taking you to the Olympics. You're just walking around.
Yeah.
And you just bump into Jason Kelce. How are you reacting?
I think it'd be crazy. Also, I'd be thinking, like, is this Jason Kelce or is this just somebody else? Like, first I'd have to take, like, a double take. But I just think it'd be crazy. I'd be like, am I really seeing Jason Kelce in Paris? It'd be crazy, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show that Jason Kelce is definitely enjoying his retirement. I mean, he wouldn't be in Paris this time if he was still playing. So I think he's really taking the bull by the horns and enjoying his time retired and spending time with his wife, going to support this fine nation of the United States of America and just supporting like the different individual sports. Like we saw women's rugby. He was a big fan of it. Had the fedora, had the shirt of that one rugby player, and then he went after the game.
You uncultured swine.
Whatever. And he like had a arm wrestle with her. Like it's cool how he's engaging in these athletes and showing, you know, his love for the country and his support.
Dutch, I just think it's really cool. Just like I think it's cool to go to the Olympics, period. Like I like if they were even trying to get to LA is a little tough, but I would probably try to go to the Olympics in LA just to witness it. It's this long-standing thing that has connections to the ancient world and has been brought to modern times. So just the Olympics, the idea of the Olympics in general is a pretty cool thing and concept. But now we can talk about our local ties with the Kelseys obviously being there. They're like, of course, our queen of Delco, with her history with field hockey and being a coach at Lower Merion and stuff like that, of course you knew she was going to find her way towards the field hockey portion for Team USA there, and them getting to meet the team there and practicing with them a little bit. It was really cool. Then you saw Jason fully embracing it with him getting a beret and going to some cafes. Like, there were pictures of him at cafes all throughout Paris and whatnot. And then him being the now sponsor here of the rugby teams, the same way that Flava Flav is the sponsor of the women's water polo team, or Snoop Dogg just America's mascot. I love all this Snoop Dogg stuff. I think it's hilarious. I've laughed at all of it. He just wants to have fun and wants everybody else to have a good time too, and I can appreciate that. And he looks like he's just having the best of time, and they look like they had the best of time there too. So.
Yeah, they did. It was kind of heartwarming to see. And I think that this is also fair to say that this has been probably one of the better Olympics in recent memory, for sure. I think my favorite, maybe 2008, but that would probably just be because that was when we were first getting into it. There was that LeBron effect, all that. But it's still pretty cool. It's kind of crazy. One more point before we just move on from this, and we'll get into CJGJ. But it's just insane, once again, to just see how LeBron has pretty much throughout our whole lifetime not taken a stride back with these 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds. You got to respect greatness there at some point in just sports. So shout out to LeBron. However, in some more local news, the Philadelphia Eagles don't have the best advice. Now, I think the outlook or the timeline is unknown right now for CJ Gardner. But the problem is the Eagles have absolutely no fucking depth at safety is the point I'm trying to make for you guys. Watch this preseason game. Watch it on Friday night, because with him not playing, you guys are going to see a lot of, how do I want to put it? Tom remembers this. Shout out to Mr. Walker from Salesianum. Seasoning. They're going to need some seasoning, men. Right, Tom?
Yeah.
And it's just basically saying these guys, you're going to see that development. You're going to see those mistakes made. You're going to see those slip ups, because CJGJ is about the only guy. I mean, Reed Blankenship is a decent player. I don't think that he's all that. I think that what he did a lot of his first year was kind of because CJGJ. But I think Reed's a good player too. I just think last year showed it can't be those guys alone. And the Eagles really didn't do anything else besides CJGJ. So I'm reading an article today, and it makes me almost wonder. And I posed the question to all you guys. Would any of you guys like to see Justin Simmons, who formerly played for Vic Fangio, come here for more depth at safety? Or you think that would be too much, spending too much money? We don't need it.
They definitely need a lot of help after their major collapse last year. That all being said, Justin Simmons might be out of their price range, unfortunately, because if he comes here, he's not a depth guy. You have to think
he's a starter.
He's a starter. And when CJGJ gets back, Justin Simmons, unless he's playing absolute ass, it is going to expect CJGJ to be the depth guy and not the starter. So do you really want that? Do you really think that's going to be a winning dynamic? Part of what made the 2017 Eagles special is that they had a good dynamic in the locker room, and you had guys that uplifted. We didn't really know who Patrick Robinson was going into that season. I sure as hell knew who he was by the time we won a Super Bowl. So you need to know, You need to be able to build up guys, is my point. You can't just go out and hope to get a Pro Bowl team because, one, you can't afford a Pro Bowl team. Two, you have to just, like, you also have to think about the dynamics of the team. Like, is he going to gel well? Oh, like that, you're asking for disaster for whenever CJGJ comes back. Now, if I find out that CJGJ is probably out till week 16 or 17, then yeah, go get Justin Simmons and it'll all work out.
Amir?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jack.
No, go Amir.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go,
all
Amir.
right. See, like I kind of agree with that. Like if he's out for a long time, then you should probably go get him. But he is. I don't think he'd be all right with being the depth guy. He'd want to be starting and he'd want to be the main one. So I feel like it's not the move right now. Really, you need to see what unfolds with CJGJ's injury, and that's what you have to see first.
Yeah, I mean it's perfect timing. We have our first, preseason game on Friday. So depending on obviously if he was healthy, I don't think he would be playing on Friday because I don't think we're playing our starters. So I think this is the perfect time. It gives him some time to rest, to get better, and then come week 1, be ready to play. So it really just depends on how long he's out. I mean, if he's out past, won't come back till week 10, then you get another part to add in the safety position. But at the same time, it's like we don't really know. It's all unanswered questions like how long is he out? How severe is the injury? So I think we just hold tight, see how he improves, and if he gets any better and how long he's actually out, and then kind of make our judgment off of that.
Yeah, I think you guys all hit the nail on the head perfectly. Debbie, you ain't stopping this one, though.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dordan, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you to Tick Pick for your sponsorship. Like I've said before, it is Eagle season, baby. Buy your tickets through Tick Pick with no fees at all. Tonight's question we have for you. This is season 7, episode 1. There is no scoreboard, so we're starting fresh. Ashley was the overall winner last season, so we'll see who'll be overthrowing her or if she's going to regain that. But tonight's question we have for you is 1983 was considered the best draft in NFL history. Which player did the Eagles take with the 8th overall pick? A, Jerome Brown. B, Michael Haddix or Hendricks. C, Heath Sherman. Or D, Wes Hopkins. Sorry. So, Dalton, give me your answer.
We're getting him through his first ABC book, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it was spelled wrong. But we will give the answer at the end of the show.
Cool. I'll text you mine, too. Thank you, Jack. And, yeah, Debbie, you may be able to beat me, but you can't beat the power of friendship. Thank you guys seriously for all the patience throughout the show, especially those on Spotify with all this tech stuff. Moving along, preseason week 1. What are you guys most looking forward to seeing?
The beach.
The beach.
Because guess what? I'm probably not going to watch any of it. Because let's face it, it's all 4th string guys that play now. You don't even put their 2nd stringers out there. Week 1 of the NFL season is the new preseason. So it ain't what it used to be.
Personally, like I said earlier, I would love to see the starters play in preseason. Play one.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
Shake off the rust just a little bit.
Exactly. Just play, 1 quarter. That's all you got to do. Play 1 quarter. And then you can
even 2 series. Like, even if it's not a full quarter, just like maybe a series or 2. That's
right.
all I need out of you.
Because, yeah, you have preseason practice and you're kind of getting the new coach and all that good stuff. But at the same time, it's like you got to knock the rust off and, see what you can do against an opponent who's coming at you full force. I mean,
Yep.
that's my opinion. And I think that's how it should be across the board for any team in preseason. They should play their starters, half a quarter, and then play the bench players. Because if you ever played like Madden or anything like that, and you're doing your My Career as a player and you're a starter, you play the first quarter in preseason, and then you get taken off. So that's what I want to see, is seeing the starters play on the field for at least half a quarter. But yeah, that's all I got. Amir?
Yeah, it's honestly like preseason. If it had the starters at least play a little bit, then there would be somewhat of a point to preseason. But preseason has really no point. I mean, you get to see Eagles back on the field, but it's not really the Eagles. It's fourth string, third string.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
that's really the only thing that if I'm gonna watch this game, that's all I want to see. Really, I just want to see Eagles football again. But I feel like how you were saying, how if the starters played the first quarter or even half of a quarter, it would be better because they practice and preseason and actual games, two different things. Even preseason actual games are two different things. And that's how some teams, they're just a little bit shaky in the beginning of the season because the starters haven't didn't play in the preseason, and it's just a problem across the league, really. So, yeah, that's my take.
Fair enough. Debbie? I can't hear shit.
Deborah,
There it
I'm
is.
back. No, I just want to say, the media, me, just kidding. No, I'll be there on Friday night. Shout out to Rich, appreciate you. Got me a ticket, so me and Alyssa are gonna go to the game on Friday night. So we'll see Lamar hopefully play a little bit, maybe Jalen Hurts play a little bit. I don't think too much, obviously the second stringers, but if we could just see one drive in person, just see how they look running the offense in the huddle. Do they have control? What does their body language look like? All those things I think will be great to see. And I want to say as well, respect to Baltimore. Much love to Baltimore. One of my favorite away stadiums to go to. I think M&T Bank Stadium. Ooh, that's a good one I could use against them. I just accidentally used there if we ever played them in the Super Bowl. M&T Stank Stadium. Anyway, M&T Bank Stadium doesn't stank. Seriously, it's a really clean stadium. It's well kept. And shout out to Ravens fans because that's my second favorite team. Ravens fans are great people. They bring the heat. So I think that the game, there's going to be a little bit of chirping going on Friday night. It's going to be good weather. A lot of Philly fans, I think, are going to make the trip to the Let's go to the Inner Harbor, babe. Let's go on a date. Let's go see the Birds play the Ravens. Could be interesting.
One last thing I'll say, and then we can move on, or if Mir wants anything. But I agree. I think this 3 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks of preseason should just be 1 week. Because, I mean, that's what OZY said. He said just play 1 week of preseason and then get into the regular season. Because preseason doesn't really matter. And having 3-4 games, what's the point? You know what I mean? That's all I got to say.
Yeah. So now actually kicking out into our trivia, I just need to read the damn thing here before I hit the intro so I could text Jack my answer. All right, I know what I want to say.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dorden, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship. Like I said, it's Eagle season. It's always Eagle season. Buy your tickets through TickPick. Like I said, this is Season 7, Episode 1. There is no leaderboard. But tonight's question we have for you is, 1983 was considered the best draft in NFL history. Which player did the Eagles take with the 8th overall pick? 1983 was considered the best draft in NFL history. Which player did the Eagles take with the 8th overall pick? A, Jerome Brown. B, Michael Haddix. C, Heath Sherman. Or D, Wes Hopkins. And tonight's answer for you will go to Ashley, because she's the reigning champ. She said B, Michael Haddix, and that is the correct answer.
Darn.
Tommy answered Jerome Brown. Dalton answered Wes Hopkins. So I didn't see anything else in the comments or anything like that. So Ashley, for the first episode of season 7, is leading.
The reigning champ of season 6 too, so that you guys know, Ashley has a point. And did any of the fans get it right? Did we see?
I didn't see any questions. I didn't see answers. So
I didn't see any fans. I'll go through them either, but we will have it updated next week. So Ashley, I think right now is in 1. We'll also put Amir on the board for next week. We'll get you on there too, Amir, and we're going to give you a chance. So then when we do it, Amir, so that you know, we just texted in the group chat during the show, just text your answer, and Jack will keep up with it. Don't worry. I mean, me and Tom didn't even have to freaking participate tonight because we just both struck out, if that makes you feel any better. So leave it to Ashley, the reigning champ. Tommy's also got a championship under his belt. I believe he was season 5 champion. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more. I know we also have our fantasy football league and draft coming up. We are going to be doing that. I have to take a gigantic teddy bear out on a date at some point soon. So me and Jack are going to get together to coordinate that because I will hold up my end of the bargain. I just need to figure out what Olive Garden I will get the least glares at, whether that being in Maryland, Delaware, or PA. But that's all we got.
The Olive Garden on City Ave.
No. I'm not going back to St. Joe's, Tom.
I mean, we can fix this up because Dalton hasn't done it since last fantasy football was over. So I think the team should pick the restaurant you go to.
No, because you guys are gonna fucking screw me over twice. You
guys
are gonna
go
pick
into
an
a 5-star restaurant.
Yep. Fuck you. I'm not doing that. Because you know what I'll get? I'll get fucking bread and water just to be an asshole because you'll forget to say what I have to order for the thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'll take it to Olive Garden. I think Olive Garden's a pretty happy medium because here's the thing. I can take home that second meal and eat it later so I can at least get my money's worth. Tom, the fucking true Italian over there, is like, what the hell, Dutch? Olive Garden? Hell no.
And we have to say, I've lost fantasy football. You have to wear a hat or a shirt because
it's not like fucking just screw Dalton Day where you just keep piling on shit and see how many things I say
Jordan,
yes to.
Because we did have to agree to the rules because you kept escalating it to the point that you were taking it way too far.
And the winner has to also wire me $1 million at the end of the league.
And the winner has to take at least 12 100,000 volt electrocution shocks.
All right, Tommy, that's enough out of you. Anyway, it is easy. It is season 7, episode 1. We are super excited for this season. We're excited for the Birds to start playing. I'm going to be a little quiet because I have a baby that's upstairs. Josh's brother's son's here. So without further ado, thank you for season 7. Hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit the motherfucking outro.
We got 3 2 birds.